When the United States government announced new visa restrictions under Donald Trump, the decision was framed in Washington as a matter of security. In the Sahel, it was heard very differently. For countries already grappling with conflict, political upheaval, and economic pressure, the ban felt less like protection and more like punishment. And this time, the response was not silence. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for being part of this growing community. Your support, engagement, and conversations mean a lot, and we're excited to have you here. As we step into the new year, we wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous year ahead. May it bring growth, positive change, and meaningful discussions. If you're watching and haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment to subscribe and join us on this journey. Your subscription helps the channel grow and ensures you don't miss upcoming content. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the community. Let us continue. If you recall, Mali moved first. The president of Mali did not waste time looking for better words. Mali government announced that American citizens would now face the same visa requirements that Malians encounter when applying to enter the United States. Officials described the move as an act of reciprocity, grounded in sovereignty and mutual respect. Burkina Faso followed soon after, issuing similar restrictions. Then Niger. Each decision echoed the same logic. If access is denied to our citizens, access will no longer be automatic for yours. These bloody make sense. Chad had already taken a comparable step earlier, suspending visas for U.S. citizens after being included in previous American restrictions. Niger also announced restrictions on U.S. visas and entry, describing the American policy as unjustified and counterproductive. On paper, these were administrative decisions, but in reality, they were political statements. Across the Sahel, political leaders have argued that the U.S. visa ban disproportionately targets countries already facing significant security challenges. They have rejected Washington's stated justification, contending that broad travel restrictions undermine international cooperation and do not effectively address security concerns. The U.S. government justified the visa ban by pointing to security concerns, including terrorism risks, weak border controls, and high visa overstay rates. But leaders in the Sahel rejected that framing. They argued that their countries are not the source of global insecurity, but some of its biggest victims. For the Sahel members, the ban ignored context. It reduced complex regional crises to a single label and treated fragile states as liabilities rather than partners. The truth be said, this standoff did not emerge in a vacuum. Across the Sahel, relations with Western powers have been under strain for years. Military coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger reshaped political leadership and disrupted long-standing alliances. Security partnerships weakened. Diplomatic trust eroded. At the same time, these governments began redefining how they engage with the outside world. They spoke more openly about independence, about rejecting what they see as selective standards and external pressure. Within that broader shift, visa reciprocity became a symbol. By responding in kind, Sahel governments sent a message not just to Washington, but to their own populations. A message that said they would no longer accept decisions made about them without consultation. That they would assert control over their borders just as others do. Let truth be told. Donald Trump has no respect or regard for African nations. In 2018, Trump was reported to have referred to some African countries, along with Haiti, as shithole countries. Nigeria was often discussed in the fallout. Around the same time, Trump was reported to have made a separate remark about Nigerians, allegedly saying that once Nigerians came to the U.S., they would never go back to their huts. That comment, widely criticized as racist and offensive, was reported by multiple outlets, though Trump denied saying it. I could be totally wrong. However, I get the impression that Trump does not like black people a little bit. Obviously, he likes the minerals that America can get from Africa. Let us stay on the story at hand. The consequences, however, extend beyond diplomacy. Reciprocal visa bans complicate humanitarian work, business travel, and security cooperation. They add friction to already fragile relationships at a time when regional instability affects far more than the Sahel alone. What began as a travel restriction has become a marker of something larger, a changing balance between the Sahel and the West. In answering the U.S. visa ban, these countries made clear that access, respect, and partnership are no longer assumed. They must be mutual. And in the Sahel today, even visas have become a language of power. What I was seeing here until the Sahel held its ground is basically forced compliance, manipulated compliance, coercive compliance. These are no longer being tolerated. Wake up, American government. I believe many Black Americans understand exactly why this resistance is happening. I am not offended by it. On the contrary, I applaud Captain Ibrahim Traoré for leading and guiding his people. I truly wish other African leaders would unite with him. Instead, too many remain driven by greed and self-interest. And some African leaders are still worshipping Western leaders. They are still stuck in the plantation mentality. Black inferiority is real. Leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré are such a great welcome. As for the question of whether Black Americans would step in to help Africa in the event of an American attack, the answer for many is no. And the reason is simple. African governments have never shown concern for Black Americans until now, when they suddenly need help or influence. They have never spoken in Black American defense. Not once. Never. The dispute highlights broader diplomatic strains between the United States and several Sahelian states, many of which are currently governed by military-led administrations reassessing their political, security, and development relationships with Western partners. It comes as no surprise that the U.S. visa restrictions introduced under the Trump administration has prompted what appears to be a coordinated regional response grounded in established diplomatic norms of reciprocity. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger moved to mirror the restrictions placed on their own citizens, presenting these actions as corrective measures in response to what they perceive as an imbalanced policy. U.S. officials justified the restrictions on security grounds, citing concerns related to border management, terrorism risks, and immigration compliance. Sahel governments have disputed this rationale, arguing that it fails to account for regional realities and instead penalizes states already confronting insurgency and instability. Overall, the dispute reflects deeper structural shifts in relations between the Sahel and Western powers, as regional governments increasingly assert autonomy and challenge long-standing security and development frameworks. Now, England and Europe have wasted no time with the deportation mandate. For instance, Germany's migration stance under its new government promises to accelerate the EU's hard right turn on migration as the bloc prepares to implement a series of new measures aimed at drastically reducing the number of asylum seekers entering Europe and deporting more of those who do make it. As European leaders negotiate on how to put these measures into place, those from some of the EU's most hardline countries are welcoming Germany's new role. They want to make it clear that Germany is no longer in the brakeman's cab when it comes to migration issues in Europe, but is part of the driving force. This message is being received well in Brussels. Thank you for your time. Catch you real soon.